Let's go.
Jeffrey Hull starts his morning looking for inspiration in the waves just south of Cannon Beach.
This is the beach that I often come to in the morning, so inspiration strikes me real easily because it's familiar and yet it's unique every day. I moved down here to surf right out of high school. Went back and forth to school a couple times in Portland, and eventually just knew this is where I needed to be. And fortunately, I've been able to stay and survive.
He sees the beach with a painter's eye.
I love that zone right there. It's just rich with contrast. When the sun comes out, it makes everything pop color-wise, and the contrast with the shadows and the light reflecting off of it, just really fun. And then that disappearing into the fog like that with the suggestion of the surf that we can hear out there is just fun. Oftentimes a walk on the beach there'll be 100 paintings, and it's just a matter of trying to figure out which one or two to focus on.
The paintings that he focuses on are a tribute to the coast he loves.
I used to have a business card that we put a little phrase to years and years ago that said coastal life in watercolor. Since that time it's expanded into oils as well, but I always thought that pretty well summed me up. One of the nicest compliments I've been paid over the years is people have told me that they can hear the ocean in my paintings, and that's what you hope for.
Today's watercolor painting starts with a wash or base color.
It's going to be similar to what we were out in this morning, where there was a layer of hazy, foggy, moist atmosphere that veiled the distance. What I like is a nice, even starting point. So because the paper's so wet, everything's running still, and that's good. And I do have in my mind's eye a pretty good idea of kind of where we're headed. But I don't have the luxury right now of thinking too much about what's going to get painted next. Right now I'm just making sure that this doesn't end up turning into a nightmare.
His work is a constant balance between wet and dry. Each layer must be dry enough to paint on, or the painting will be ruined. With watercolors, there's no fixing a mistake. Each brushstroke adds a layer of color and texture to the piece.
I think it's pretty likely I would be a painter anywhere, but I would be a tortured soul if I was not at the coast. It's just in my blood. I just love the coast. I'm happy with it. I have one area of concern, and that is this kind of, it almost looks like a patina on a bronze, the way it's a little bit mottled. So I'm going to just, while I have a minute here, just kind of get rid of some of those. They look like Kleenex marks to me, because that's what they are. And I just kind of want to have it look a little less man-made.
Jeff has developed many techniques during his years of painting the coast. Here's the secret behind how he shapes those breaking waves.
If you can imagine that being the top or the bottom of a breaking wave, it gives me the ability to pull some paint off with the toothbrush and the tissue, but still have an edge that is ocean-like in its appearance. It's not completely unique to me, but I don't think it's used anywhere near as much as people would if they realized how slick it is. It would be fun to say, and it's somewhat true, that your favorite one is the one you're working on because it's challenging and you're having a good time with it, but truthfully some of them you hate. And I learned over the years that the ones that fight you the most sometimes end up in the end being the best, or at least the ones that you love the most.
Working on such a large scale in watercolor has unique challenges.
The biggest ones that I do are well planned because they're hard on you physically. You're leaning over for long periods of time, and I usually end up with a stiff back after a day or two of painting on the larger format stuff. Because I paint horizontally as opposed to on an easel, you have to stand or kneel and lean out. So they're especially challenging.
To survive as an artist, life on the coast includes much more than painting. The Hulls have a gallery in downtown Cannon Beach.
I've got a couple of different mats that...
The name of the gallery is Jeffrey Hull Gallery. It was common in the early days in Cannon Beach for artists to have a studio/gallery.
The gallery gives Jeff a chance to talk about his work and get feedback about his paintings, like...
The woman who came in and said, "This guy is a really good painter of waves, but he really should work on the rocks that he paints. They're still not quite as good as they should be." And literally the next person later in the day, or a little bit later, that came through the door said, "This guy really paints the rocks well. I don't know, the waves seem a little bit odd to me, but the rocks are just, boy, he's really got that part down." So you learn over time to be pretty thick-skinned.
He never gets tired of the coast. As a surfer and a painter, he's always looking forward to his next big challenge.
It's a great joy to be able to paint and work at something that when it's completed you sit back and say, that's good. That felt right.
Oregon Art Beat shares the stories of Oregon's amazing artists, and member support completes the picture. Join us as a sustaining member at opb.org/video.